Mhm. Let's finish this off with simultaneous equations where we use x and y. I will start with that 1.3. I'll come to 1.4 later on. What are the steps that we need to follow when we solve for simultaneous equations? First of all, label those two equations. We've got two equations, label them. Label the other one equation one and one the equation one and the other one equation two. Once you have labeled them, choose the equation that looks the easiest or that seems to be the easiest. Then use that equation to make x or y the subject of the formula. Use that equation to make x or y the subject of the formula. And once you've done that, the new equation that you just found, you will call it equation 3. Once you have found equation 3, you will take equation 3 and substitute it into the other equation, not the same equation that you used to find equation 3. And just remember, when you make x or y the subject of the formula, try by all means to avoid fractions because you know yourselves. Fractions scare you, so avoid them by whatever means. As I've said, once you have made the subject of the formula, you need to take the variable that you make the subject of the formula of and substitute it into the other equation. As I've said, not the equation that you used to find it. Once you've done, you need to use your algebraic rules to simplify the equation. Use your algebraic rules to simplify the equations. And when you simplify the equations, make sure you solve for one variable. Then the variable that you have solved for, substitute it into equation 3 to solve for the other variable. Let's put it into practice. 3x plus y equals to 2 will be equation y squared equals to 2x squared minus 1, equation 2. Then I'm going to choose equation 1 and I'm going to solve for y because it won't result in me having a fraction. When you take equation 1 and you solve for y, by solving for y, I mean that you're making y the subject of the formula. That means you need to transpose x. So the whole 3x must go to the right-hand side. Then you're going to take equation 3 and substitute it into equation 2. So in equation 2, wherever there's y, you're going to substitute 2 minus 3x. Remember, when you do your substitution, put your substitution in brackets. You can repeat this bracket twice and you do the kitty face again. This times that, and the same one times that gives you a kitty face. And you're going to say this times that, and that one times that. So those will be your eyes. Okay, you're just using foil then. That's all I'm basically doing. And for the first ones, when you multiply them, you will have 4. And you will take this times that is 4. And that times that will give you 6x. This times that will give you 6x. And that times that will give you 9x squared. Then transpose. Someone might be saying, you said we must take it to where the variable with the highest exponent is. But what do we do when both sides have the highest variable? Then you take it to the variable that has the highest coefficient and the biggest coefficient. And I need you to understand. Let's say on the right I have 2x squared. And on the left I have minus 3x squared. Which one are you going to take to which? You're going to take minus 3x to 2x squared because 2x squared is higher than negative 3. Positive 2 is higher than negative 3. So you always take it to where the highest exponent is, but that highest exponent its coefficient must be bigger, must be greater to avoid multiplying by negatives at the end. But if you don't mind, then it's fine. So I'm going to basically take everything to the left-hand side. So that 2x squared will be negative, and that negative, then you simplify by adding like terms. There's nothing that looks like 12x, so I'm going to take 4 and add it with 1. It'll give me 5, and I'm going to take 9 minus 2. That'll give me 7x. Once I've got that, I will have to factorize. Looking at the first term and the last term and the middle term, the last term is positive. So I need the factors of the first term and the last term. When I've multiplied their products and added them, they need to give me minus 12. So basically, you need to be careful because you don't want to put 7 because 7 will be the first term in each bracket and 5 will be the last term in each bracket. You don't want them to be multiplied because when you multiply those two, 5 times 7 is that is 35. And we're only looking for 12. We want to multiply 5 with 7. They mustn't be on the outer together because 7 will be the first, so you can't make 5 the last. So instead, put the 5 in the inner. So the 5 will be in the first bracket so that it becomes the inner. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, these two are the inner and those two are the outer. You don't want 5 here because it'll give you 35. Instead, you will put it on the inner so that it'll give you, so it'll be 7 times 1, that is 7, and 5 times 1, that is 5. When you add them, they give you 12, which is the answer that we are looking for. If you struggle to find answers, guys, if you struggle to find vectors, come here, okay? Use this as your friend. It is time consuming, but it will work measure for you. So we'll put negative 12 where there's B. Let me just change this and start with the positive. And here I will put negative 12 where there is A. I will put 7. And where there is C, I will put 5. go to the denominator where there is a, I will put 7, and let's see how much we got. So one of the factors is 1. There it is. You see, one of the factors is 1. So you know that in one bracket, you'll have x minus 1. Okay. And then you can manipulate them. But however, let's see what we have in the other one. I will simply go back with x, just put in negative. So one of the factors will be 7x minus 5. Because when you solve for that, it will give you 5 over 7. So that's how you can do it. So you will have x is equals to 5 over 7, x is equals to 1. Take these two values and substitute them in equation number 3. Wherever there's x, substitute those two values. So we took equation 3, we substituted 5 over 7, and took equation 2 and substituted 1. Simplified, it will give you y values, which will be negative 1 over 7, and y is equals to negative 1. That's it. Let's move to this one here. When I tried this, obviously I didn't check the memo. I prefer to do the questions first. As I'm typing them, I'm busy doing them. I'm hoping that everything is right. Now, obviously, what you might have in the memo and what I have might be different because we worked differently. So when I saw that, because when I'm giving something like this, I really don't focus on these. I focus on this one here. The first question that I ask myself is, how do I get RS? And I realized that RS means I need to multiply R and S. And if I was to isolate R and S in each equation, it'll give me something very complex. And that will also not give me A squared and B squared. So I focused on A squared and B squared because I already have them. I was like, how about you take these two, okay, and then you just square them. And then you label each. Because you're looking for minus, you will take the one that has A squared minus the one that has B squared. And then you'll see where it takes you. That's what I did. And the answer that I got is that. I don't know what they did in the memo, so you'll just have to check. But this is how I did it. I said, this is the first equation, and this is the second equation, and I just squared them. I square the first equation and square the second equation. Now I have my A squared, and now I have my B squared. And then I said A squared minus B squared, which is equation 1 minus equation 2, and it gave me this. And then I simplified. You remember how to simplify? You'll have to repeat this bracket twice, or you just use that method that I told you. In this case, I used that short method. Please check the previous videos if you. So I ended up giving R squared plus 2RS, that is 4RS plus 4S squared. And I got the same answer, R squared minus 4RS plus 4S. Obviously, the one in brackets, we need to break those brackets because we can't work with these brackets. So we'll just multiply because there's -1 here. We'll multiply all the terms inside the bracket by that -1. And you will get this over here. So you will notice that the R squared, this is positive, that is negative, and the 4S squared, this is 4x squared, this is minus. So I'm just left with these two, and when you add those two, that will give you 8RS. And to solve for RS, I divided both sides by 8. as I've said, probably the memo has a different way of doing this. We can use different methods and still get to the same solution, okay? Um, and this is it with respect to question one. Um, I think this is it when it comes to question one. Please do watch the video, like and subscribe, let your friends know about this cool channel. If the videos that I've posted reach 1,000 views, then I will record question two to the last question of that paper. It is a very, very nice paper. I found it very easy. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, then go practice some more. Kgotso.